You won't even believe what this farmer unearthed in his backyard. These discoveries prove that sometimes the most shocking and surprising things are found where you least expect them, such as your own backyard. From dinosaur bones to a rusted safe, here are 20 insane items discovered in people's backyards. Number 20. World's largest rose bush. In Tombstone, Arizona, is the largest rose bush in the world, known as the White Lady Banksia rose. This enormous plant spans an impressive 9,000 square feet, making it the largest of its kind on the planet. This is definitely not an ordinary yard plant. The history of this rose bush dates back to 1885. Upon marriage, a young Scottish bride named Mary G. moved to Tombstone with her husband Henry in 1884. Feeling homesick, Mary received a box of plants from her family in Scotland, which included several cuttings of the Lady Banksia rose. Mary shared one of these cuttings with her friend Amelia Adamson, and together they planted it in the backyard of Amelia's boarding house. Needless to say, they didn't expect that the rose would thrive in the harsh Arizona desert. By the 1920s, it had grown so large that the new owners of the boarding house, James and Ethel Masha, had to build a trellis system to support its massive branches. This structure not only helped the rose continue to expand, but also created a shaded patio that became a favorite spot for guests. Each spring, the rose bush bursts into a spectacular bloom, covering itself with thousands of small white roses. The fragrance, often described as reminiscent of violets, can be detected from blocks away. The blooming season lasts for about 6 weeks, from March through April, during which the town of Tombstone holds an annual rose festival. Number 19. Rusted safe. In 2018, Matthew and Maria Kalana Emanuel from Staten Island, New York, had the most unexpected discovery in their rusty old safe in their backyard. The couple had always noticed the metal box beneath some trees in their backyard. They thought it was nothing but an old electrical box, so they never bothered inspecting it. It wasn't until a deer damaged the surrounding foliage that they decided to do some landscaping. They finally decided to remove the rusted box and see what it really was. They found out that what they had wasn't an electrical box but a safe. They never anticipated just what it contained. In most cases, safes are used to store valuables, but it's not common for a safe to be disposed of with valuable things inside. The couple, however, had one lucky find. The old safe turned out to be filled with the most valuable things: $52,000 worth of cash, jewelry, and other valuables. The total estimated value of the contents was around $52,000, which included about $16,300 in undamaged cash. Now that's a jackpot. However, the discovery wasn't theirs to keep. Inside the safe, they also found a piece of paper with an address, which they traced to a neighbor who had been robbed years earlier. The robbery had occurred the night after Christmas in 2011, and the safe had been stolen but never recovered. Without hesitation, the Emanuels returned the treasure to their neighbors, who were the rightful owners. Well, that's how you know that you have neighbors you can trust. Number 18. Dinosaur Bone. A Portuguese homeowner in Pombal discovered fossilized bone fragments while doing construction work in his backyard. To properly check what the skeletons were, he obtained help from paleontologists who excavated the area. What they found is quite astounding. The bone fragments were just the tip of the iceberg. The significant discovery was the massive skeleton of an 82-foot-long dinosaur. With this size, it was estimated to be the largest skeleton ever found in Europe. This incredible find began in 2017 when he noticed some fossilized bone fragments. Upon contacting paleontologists, extensive excavations were initiated, revealing more of the dinosaur's massive remains. Subsequent research revealed that the skeleton belonged to a sauropod, a plant-eating giant with a long neck and tail, standing about 39 feet tall and stretching up to 82 feet long. These sauropods roamed the Earth approximately 160 to 100 million years ago during the Upper Jurassic to Lower Cretaceous periods. With this discovery, researchers had the opportunity to learn more about these giants that once roamed our planet. Number 17. Haunted Doll. In Houston, a family dealt with a bizarre and spooky phenomenon involving their daughter's doll. The doll was initially given to Emily Madonia's daughter as a Christmas gift in 2013. It looked normal enough until the doll began exhibiting bizarre behavior. The doll could originally sing and talk when turned on, but the family felt like something was wrong when it would make noises despite being turned off. Initially, it would only speak in English, but as time passed, it began to switch to Spanish intermittently. This strange behavior led the family to believe the doll was malfunctioning. However, things got creepier when they decided to throw it away. Emily's husband double-bagged the doll, buried it deep in their garage, and ensured it was taken away by the garbage truck. They were confident that was the end of it, but to their astonishment, the doll reappeared inside a wooden bench in their backyard. This happened not once but twice, and by then they knew that something was amiss. Convinced that the doll was haunted, Emily took to social media to seek advice and share their unnerving experience. She stained the doll with her daughter's markers to ensure it was the same one each time it reappeared, ruling out the possibility of a prank or an identical replacement. As a final desperate measure, Emily mailed the doll to a friend in Minnesota without a return address. This friend, Chris Hogan, who does not believe in the supernatural, humorously taped the doll to his Jeep's brush guard to prevent it from escaping. My theory is that someone was pulling a prank on the family, perhaps someone in their household or a neighbor. But what do you think? Do you think the doll is truly haunted? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Number 16. Space debris. A man from Macon County, Georgia, made a befuddling discovery when he found a bizarre piece of debris in his garden. He found a charred metal object that was partially buried in the soil, and upon closer inspection, he realized that it was unlike anything he had ever seen before. There was only one thing he was sure of when he saw the debris. It wasn't an ordinary piece of trash. With the help of experts and internet sleuths, the object was identified as part of the trunk section of a SpaceX Dragon spacecraft. This section is designed to support the spacecraft during its ascent and is jettisoned before re-entry into Earth's atmosphere, where most of it is expected to burn up. However, sometimes these pieces survive the re-entry process and fall back to Earth. The homeowner reported the find to local authorities, who then contacted NASA and SpaceX for verification. The presence of specific materials and construction techniques linked the debris directly to SpaceX. With space exploration becoming more common, more and more space debris might re-enter our planet. Now you're probably curious, what are the chances that space debris would actually hit a living person? Well, there's only a 1 in a trillion chance, so you don't need to worry about falling space objects anytime soon. Number 15. Cold War Shelter. In 2015, John Sims, a man from Tucson, Arizona, bought a house from a friend. After acquiring the property, he learned about its history, which prompted him to use a metal detector and inspect around the area. His gut feeling wasn't wrong. Beneath his property was the entrance of a Cold War shelter buried about 3 feet underground. It turned out that this shelter was built in 1961 by Whitaker Pools. With the property's history, it didn't take long to find this information. When Sims first entered, he found it filled with rubble, but he quickly began cleaning and restoring the space. Sims was disappointed by the lack of other Cold War memorabilia from the shelter, but he expressed his desire to renovate it and make it a fully functional living space. Number 14. Prehistoric Dolphin Bones. Paul MacDonald, a 44-year-old father from Stirling, Scotland, was merely digging a swimming pool in his backyard for his kids in 2023. He didn't expect that his DIY project would turn into an archaeological discovery. MacDonald, an orthopedics medical representative, was using a digger to excavate the pool when he uncovered the skull of a dolphin. With his background, it didn't take long for him to recognize the distinctive shape, long snout, and rows of teeth of the creature. At a single glance, he knew he found something extraordinary. The bones, preserved in clay about 80 centimeters below the surface, had been dated back approximately 8,000 years, a period shortly after the last ice age when the area was an inland sea. Alongside the dolphin bones, MacDonald also found a broken tool made from deer antler. This means that thousands of years ago, early humans who were ancient hunter-gatherers used these deer antlers to carve out the dolphin's meat to sustain themselves. That's not a pretty picture, so I'm sure he left this detail out when telling his kids about his astounding discovery. In the end, experts from the National Museum Scotland handled the safekeeping and further analysis of the dolphin bones. Number 13. Saving the butterfly population. If you have the time, resources, and a vision, nothing is impossible. Anything can be done from anywhere, like saving an endangered species just by staying in your backyard. That's exactly what Tim Wong did. Tim Wong is an aquatic biologist at the California Academy of Sciences. In 2012, he dedicated his time to repopulating the rare California pipevine swallowtail butterfly in San Francisco. Years ago, this species was common in the area, but due to habitat loss and the scarcity of its sole food source, the California pipevine plant, these creatures nearly vanished. Wong made it his mission to save this species. He located the elusive California pipevine plant at the San Francisco Botanical Garden and was allowed to take a few clippings home. Using self-taught techniques, Wong constructed a specialized screen enclosure to protect the butterflies from predators and provide optimal conditions for mating and growth. He introduced 20 caterpillars to his backyard habitat, where they thrived on the pipevine plant. Over time, Wong raised thousands of caterpillars, which eventually metamorphosed into butterflies. His efforts paid off as each year since 2012, more butterflies have been seen flying, laying eggs, and successfully pupating in his garden and the San Francisco Botanical Garden. Now this is something you can definitely brag about. Number 12. 2,749-pound pumpkin. I definitely wouldn't compete with my neighbor when it comes to produce. Said neighbor was this guy, Travis Ginger, a Minnesota teacher who just grew a 2,749-pound pumpkin, which he named Michael Jordan, in his yard. Ginger's achievement came from the 2023 World Championship Pumpkin Weigh-Off in Half Moon Bay, California. However, this was not his first taste of victory. He had previously won the same competition in 2020 and 2022. His latest triumph not only secured him the title but also a $30,000 prize. I guess you can say that the time he dedicated to growing that pumpkin was worth it. Now here's a little fun fact. The very same pumpkin could have produced approximately 687 pumpkin pies. That sounds more impressive than 30 grand if you ask me. Number 11. A hoard of gold coins. For years, couple John and Mary took the lovely route on their property they named Saddle Ridge. However, in 2014, their routine walk changed when their dog noticed something shiny on the ground at the base of an old tree. They let their dog sniff it, but when they spotted the bizarre-looking object, the couple got curious as well, and so they inspected the object further. Upon closer inspection, they found several decaying metal cans filled with a staggering 1,427 coins. Not just any coins, but ones made out of pure gold. Subsequent observation revealed that the coins they found dated from 1847 to 1894. Despite the coins having a combined value of about $28,000, it's possible that they could fetch a higher price on the market due to their rarity and condition. The last step for the couple was to have the coins authenticated, graded, and certified. The couple got to keep what they found and claimed that they planned on selling others on Amazon. Part of the proceeds would be donated to charity, and the other would be allotted to a house. I guess if you find a shiny, rusty can, you might want to make sure that you didn't just miss your chance of striking gold. Number 10. Rumon Villa. In 2015, Luke Irwin from Wiltz was simply laying an electricity cable in his barn when he found a mosaic beneath the ground. He dug further, and lo and behold, he just found a well-preserved Roman villa in his very own backyard. He immediately contacted experts, and it was discovered that he had stumbled upon a villa dating back to between 175 and 220 AD. Aside from its antiquity, this villa is also one of the largest and best-preserved Roman villas ever found in Britain. An 8-day excavation of the villa was carried out, and what archaeologists discovered was astounding. Mosaic, coins, pottery, jewelry, and a mysterious child sarcophagus. It also seemed like this villa was owned by a prominent family, judging by the complete underfloor heating and its extensive courtyards. Well, that's one way to boost your property's value. Number 9. $150,000 cash. If you were to find $150,000 in cash in your backyard, would you keep it a secret and keep the money to yourself? Hey, no judgment here. But if you ask Wayne Sabaj, a carpenter from McHenry County, Illinois, his conscience wouldn't allow him to keep the money he found. On an ordinary day in 2011, Sabaj was looking for broccoli to complement his meal when he stumbled upon 2 duffel bags filled with stacks of $20 bills among his pepper plants. Well, he certainly didn't plant those there. At the time, Sabaj, who was struggling to find a job, still decided to contact the police instead of keeping the money. His concern was that the cash might be linked to a criminal activity such as a bank robbery or drug trafficking, which could lead to serious legal consequences if he kept it. I don't know about you, but his reasoning still didn't change the fact that he did the right thing. After investigating, the McHenry County Sheriff's Department claimed that the money might have originated from a burglary, but no reports were filed in the area. According to Illinois law, if no one claimed the money within a year, Sabaj could potentially keep it. This law, originally intended for lost cattle, allowed for such claims to be made public before the finder could legally possess the money. As for Sabaj, he hired a lawyer to hopefully help him settle claims should he ever get the rights to the money. Unfortunately, he passed away before the settlement over the money could be concluded. That's quite a tragic end to the story. Number 8. 3-foot-long earthworm. I was pretty fearless when I was a kid, but I'm definitely not as brave as this fella. 2 years ago, 9-year-old Barnaby Dignan was playing and digging around a riverbed at the edge of his parents' property in Christchurch, New Zealand, when he found something bizarre in the water. Upon taking a closer look, he realized it was a massive earthworm, the largest he'd ever seen. Well, instead of leaving it alone and running away in disgust, he took a stick and fished it out of the water. Barnaby's mother, Jo Dignan, was the one who claimed that the massive worm was the stuff of nightmares. Despite its size, these giant earthworms are actually pretty common. However, they're not commonly found near houses, but rather in undisturbed forested areas. How this one ended up in the family's garden is a mystery. Number 7. Explosive vegetable. Unexploded ordnance, UXO, or UO are bombs, shells, mines, and other munitions that did not explode. According to the United Nations, there are currently as many as 100 million unexploded ordnance all around the world. With that being said, you can never be too careful when it comes to finding munitions or UO-like objects in your yard. You never know if you are handling something lethal in your hands. That's why I completely get the concern of this 81-year-old man from Karlsruhe, Germany. While gardening, he found a 15.7-inch long object that was long and dark in color. The man's first suspicion was that he just picked up a bomb. Concerned for his safety, he called the police. Upon closer inspection, the bomb turned out to be a large zucchini. Authorities believe someone likely tossed the vegetable over his hedge. I know the conclusion is a bit anticlimactic, and some of you might say this is a bit of a stretch, but hey, better safe than sorry, right? Number 6. A tombstone. Alexander Shaw, U.S. Navy, World War II, December 19, 1911 to January 2, 1986. That's what Dustin Boyd read on a tombstone while digging up a garden in 2020. He decided to do some renovations on their property but certainly didn't expect this discovery. Initially, he thought he had hit a large rock while gardening, but upon closer inspection, he realized it was a gravestone. Boyd shared that he would hate to think that the veteran's tombstone was left behind in their yard and their family never obtained a new one as a replacement. Unfortunately, the search for Alexander Shaw's relatives or records wasn't easy, with the name being so common. A simple search on the internet didn't yield any good results, and so they reached out to local authorities and news outlets. It was then that they found Shaw's name on an online database. It turned out that Shaw's gravestone was listed at Green Mountain Cemetery, a short distance away from Boyd's house. On the website, Shaw was said to have been buried next to his wife, Iona, who passed away in 1998. Unfortunately, no relatives of the veteran could be traced. In the end, Boyd expressed his desire to hold on to the stone until someone claims it or to donate it to the local cemetery for safekeeping. Number 5. Lots of bowling balls. Now, this is definitely the last thing you'd expect to find buried in your yard, unless the past homeowner was a bowling pro. Even so, it would still be weird having the same discovery as David Olson, who discovered not 2, not even a dozen, but a staggering total of 158 bowling balls. Olson discovered the balls while renovating his backyard in his Norton Shores, Muskegon, Michigan home. Initially, he thought he'd discover one bowling ball, but that wasn't the case. He kept digging and found more and more bowling balls, all stamped with the name Brunswick. Unfortunately, being buried deep beneath the ground did nothing to preserve the balls. Most already had signs of damage, which rendered them unusable. So what's the backstory of these bowling balls? Well, Muskegon has a historical connection to bowling ball manufacturing, with Brunswick Bowling Products operating a facility in the area from 1906. This factory produced a variety of bowling-related items, including balls, pins, and lanes. It's believed that in the 1950s, damaged or unusable bowling balls were given away to locals who then used them as landfill material. Olson's discovery is likely a result of this practice. Who would have thought a backyard renovation would uncover such an interesting piece of history? Number 4. Stash of bicycles. If you take a look around the later satellite maps of Google Earth, you'll see something peculiar in an Oxfordshire neighborhood in England. Instead of sprawling trees, you'll see a huge pile of bicycles in someone's backyard. With over 500 bicycles, this pile is easily visible enough from satellite images via Google Earth. But what's up with this unusual hoard? Well, it's said that the bicycles were part of a 54-year-old man's collection, one that he might have obtained through illicit means. This unusual situation came to light when neighbors in Littlemore began reporting the vast collection, which had been growing for about 5 years. Residents had long suspected something was amiss, with bikes being delivered by the van load both day and night. One neighbor, Colleen Butler, had been filing complaints for 4 years, noting the heap of bikes had become a neighborhood eyesore and a breeding ground for rats. Despite claims from the homeowner that the bikes were destined for charity in Africa, they never left the property. The man was apprehended and questioned, but the real reason behind this pile of bicycles was never revealed to the public. Number 3. Medieval jewels. In 2007, an Austrian man was digging to expand a pond in his garden when he came across something unexpected. Jewels, lots of them. Initially, the man thought that he had discovered unimportant objects encrusted with moist clumps of earth, and so he put them in a box in the basement and forgot about them for a couple of years. Honestly, I would have done the same. It wasn't until he rediscovered them while packing to move in 2019 that he decided to report the find to the Austrian Federal Monument Agency. Needless to say, He didn't expect that the collection he found would be one of the most significant medieval treasures discovered in Austria. The find includes over 200 items such as rings, brooches, ornate belt buckles, and gold-plated silver plates, many adorned with pearls and fossilized coral. Experts believe these items date back around 650 years and may have been crafted for a royal court. The jewels were estimated to be worth up to €100,000 or approximately $150,000. Reports never disclosed if the man got a share of the artifact's worth, but hopefully, he got a portion of the money for finding and surrendering the medieval jewels. Number 2. 9-year-old finds prehistoric mammoth tooth. On April 11, 2023, Jeremiah Longbreak was playing near his grandmother's house in Winston, Oregon when he saw something he initially believed to be a dirty plastic container. Not wanting to leave any pollutants in the water, Jeremiah grabbed a stick to fish the dirty plastic container out of the stream. That was when the 9-year-old realized he wasn't looking at a plastic bag. Upon closer inspection, he realized it was something much more significant, a large multi-layered object that felt like a medium-sized rock with unique grooves and ridges. Excited by his find, Jeremiah showed the object to his mother, Megan Johnson, who initially thought it might be a piece of petrified wood. Megan posted photos of her son's discovery on social media, and that's when they discovered the possibility that the 9-year-old might have found the remains of something significant. To further verify, Megan reached out to archaeologists at the Museum of Natural and Cultural History in Eugene. Patrick O'Grady, a researcher at the museum, confirmed that Jeremiah had indeed found a mammoth tooth, estimated to be around 10,000 years old. Jeremiah's grandmother, Rhonda Johnson, who had lived on the property for 31 years, was shocked by the find and expressed hope that more such treasures might be hidden in their backyard. Well, we're yet to hear more about any discoveries in the backyard yet, so for now, perhaps no other fossils have been discovered. Now it's time for today's topic. In the quiet town of Waverly, Tennessee, farmer Joe Thompson never expected his usual backyard chores to turn into a historic find. While preparing a new vegetable patch, Joe's shovel struck something hard and unyielding beneath the soil. Intrigued, he began to dig deeper, revealing a massive, stone-like object. Joe called in local archaeologist Dr. Emily Harper, who immediately sensed the significance of the discovery. As they carefully excavated around the object, it became clear that this was no ordinary rock. The elongated, oval shape and intricate carvings hinted at an ancient artifact buried for centuries. News of the find spread quickly, attracting experts from all over the country. Speculation ran wild. Was it a relic from a lost civilization? Or perhaps a ceremonial artifact? The markings resembled those of Native American origin, but the sheer size and weight were unprecedented. Joe's backyard was soon transformed into an archaeological dig site, with scientists and historians working tirelessly to uncover the truth. As they dug further, they discovered tools, pottery shards, and remnants of what appeared to be an ancient settlement. The discovery has left everyone astounded and eager for answers. While some believe it might be a burial site of a tribal leader, others think it could be a meteorite worshipped by early inhabitants. Regardless, this remarkable find has put Waverly on the map and sparked a renewed interest in the mysteries of our past. Number 1. You reap what you sow. In 2004, Mary Grams was weeding her garden in her home in Alberta, Canada when she lost her diamond ring. No matter how much she searched for it, she couldn't find it. As to not upset her husband, she replaced it with a similar but cheaper ring until she could find the original one. Years passed, but it was never found. She lost hope that she'd find the ring until 13 years later. In 2017, Mary's daughter-in-law, Colleen Daly, was harvesting carrots when she pulled one peculiar-looking carrot. Upon washing off the dirt, she realized that the carrot had grown through the middle of the missing ring, making it look like a tiny finger wearing a tight ring. Yes, you guessed it. The ring on the carrot was the very same one Mary lost 13 years ago. Needless to say, Mary was overjoyed to find her original ring, and after finding it, the 84-year-old promised to keep it safe and make sure it wouldn't ever get lost again. Perhaps you guys have other yard discoveries to share? It can be the funniest to the creepiest thing you found on your own property. Feel free to comment them down below. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video.